Hi everyone, my name is Dev, and today I am going to discuss the topic of corruption and its involvement in ethical decision making. Now, the major dilemma we face with this topic is are multinationals or private corporations making an ethical decision by planning to operate into these developing markets, even after knowing the fact that the ethical values of the corporation are very different from the ethical values of the host host country or the host market. So let me tell you some facts about corruption that will give you a more clear idea about ethical decision making and what how corruption plays a role in it. So one of the most important tool that is used to measure corruption is the corruption perception index, and this tool helps you to recognize which countries have a large amount of corruption. But the methods that may be used for measuring this may be somewhat inaccurate, or the market they are using may be inaccurate, because the only subjects that they use to measure corruption are the public sectors, and there is very minimal focus on private sector in measuring the corruption. Nearly there is no tool that can help you to recognize that a private corporation may be doing corruption or making an unethical decision. So what about the private corporations? When private corporations expand into the overseas market, they often misuse the natural resources, the human resources. They often misuse the government policies of the developing markets. So there are instances when there are international bodies like the UN or the International Trade or WTO, which demands for an explanations from these corporations. So the simple reply of these corporations is that we are complying with the local laws and the government. So what I found out is complying is a very funny word. Now you may well wonder that how is complying funny? I mean, like, complying is complying, you just comply with the situation or the policy or the law. But complying is a funny word because it actually helps you to it protects you from the gray area of ethics. You don't have to answer, you don't have to worry about ethical issues, because all you can say is, I'm complying with this law. So it doesn't matter what I think, but I'm just complying with this law. I don't owe anyone anything, to the country or to the people. So when you comply with something, it doesn't necessarily mean it is ethical. And there is a very thin line between ethical decision making and complying with something. Like the law, for example, the law promotes ethical behavior, but law is not ethics. Law is very different. Law is a set of rules that promotes ethic behavior, but it doesn't mean that it includes all the ethical values inside it. So private corporations often operate in these international markets or the developing markets, and the government officials in some cases they own a lot of shares into these companies or corporations. But people do not see that as unethical, because they think like it's fair to own shares in a company, so it's not fairly or unethical. But what they don't realize is when the government owes so much of share into the country, it's hardly there's something getting contributed to the people in that country or to the market. So I think private corporations may influence corruption in some way or the other, but it's just that they are not onto the receiving end, but they are onto the starting end. That's why people focus on how governments are corrupt, but there is very less focus on how private corporations make unethical decisions. So before concluding my discussion, I would like to put an open question to you all. Like, as developing leaders and as emerging leaders of the 21st century, would you still go to a developing market even after knowing that it has a lot of opportunity, it has a lot of money making tools, and it has a lot of cheap human resource? Would you still go to that market? Because at the end of the day, you won't be necessarily making an ethical decision based on an ethical value, but it's up to you. So That's it. Thank you.